I want to thank our reader for the great reading today, and the Chariot Duo, Gary Lynn Floyd, and our CSL music team for the great music to support the message. This month of June, we're talking about wholeness and health, and our message today is Retrain Your Brain. You heard a quote from Norman Vincent Peale in the reading today, and it went like this. Formulate and stamp indelibly on your mind a mental picture of yourself as succeeding. Hold this picture tenaciously and never permit it to fade. Your mind will seek to develop this picture. This quote is at the heart of our message today. You often hear me say, what you think about, you bring about. Have you ever believed something about yourself that turned out to be completely false? Well, as you ponder that question, let me give you your question for the week. What is the one choice that you might make today to remember the power of your thoughts, to know you can retrain your brain, and to release from the garden of your mind anything other than divine truth? One more time. What's the one choice you might make today to remember the power of your thoughts, to know you can retrain your mind, and to release from the garden of your mind anything other than divine truth? So let me repeat that question I just asked you a minute ago. Have you ever believed something about yourself that turned out to be completely false? Hey, when I was younger, I believed I could ice skate because I was a great roller skater. So when they opened an ice skating rink in Baton Rouge, I was eager to go, only to discover how much time I found myself sitting on the ice. Gratefully, I did realize that my ankles needed to be strengthened, and I mastered the technique for ice skating just about the same time that the rink closed because it was way too warm in Baton Rouge to keep that ice solid. The truth is, our minds are powerful, so powerful, in fact, that what we believe often becomes the filter through which we experience reality. We read in the Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. When it comes to wholeness and health, what we believe about ourselves isn't just important, it's foundational. Are you aware that your brain has the ability to change its structure and function throughout your life? This is known as neuroplasticity. Every time you learn something new or repeat a behavior, you're rewiring your brain. Hey, and do you know why the neuron went to therapy? Because it was having trouble making connections. Okay, well, seriously, let's talk about spiritual neuroplasticity, the divine ability to rewire our thought patterns and choose a new way of seeing ourselves in the world. A Course in Miracles tells us, you see what you believe is there, and you believe it there because you want it there. That is so right. We're not just innocent bystanders to our thoughts. We are active participants in them. You know my phrase, the world I see is the world in me. Well, I know we can change that world if we want to change it. Ernest Holmes, who's our founding father, told us this: change your thinking, change your life. And Reverend Katherine Economou added this phrase that I just truly believe is the most important. When your belief aligns with your divine nature, your reality begins to shift in miraculous ways. So, if you want your reality to shift, start aligning your beliefs with your divine nature, with the knowing that we're all connected. Love is the only truth. Fear is just forgetting everything is always right. The universe conspires to give us what we want. And you truly are guided through life if you just take the time to listen to that small voice within you. So, what gets in the way? Well, here's the tricky part. Our brains are like loyal employees. They keep running those old programs even once they're outdated. We inherit stories and traumas and beliefs like, I'm not enough. I'll never heal. It runs in the family. But those aren't the truths. Those beliefs are thought habits. Think about one of your own thought habits at the moment. Maybe one that's not serving you quite so well. Mine would be something like, I'm not creative. Buddha teaches us all that we are is a result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. My thought pattern around me not being creative was so powerful that when I was in my late 50s, I was helping out with a summer camp at church. And the kids sat down for time to draw something. And the person in charge said I had to participate. I tried everything I could not to participate. I literally got nauseated. And trying to talk my way out of it didn't work. What I had thought about myself as an artist had overtaken that creative part of my life. I do know now it's not true, by the way, but it took me a long time to realize that and to rewire my brain around it. Dr. Hebb, who is a neuroscientist, said this: neurons that fire together, wire together. My thought that I wasn't creative was keeping me from enjoying drawing and sketching things, even though I'm still not great at it. Retraining your brain starts with aligning with the truth that you are already whole, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Lao Tzu says, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Well, I had to let go of that thought that I wasn't creative so that I could enjoy things like doodling and sketching things that weren't very perfect, quite imperfect, as a matter of fact. And yet they added to my creative side. Mary Baker Eddy said this: the time for thinkers has come. Truth, independent of doctrines and time-honored systems, knocks at the portal of humanity. So, do you want to be a thinker and look at truth? Or are you willing to be stuck in the old stories, those old beliefs, those old traumas? I know my choice. What's yours? Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. Well, now that's a good reason to be living in the present, isn't it? Rewiring your brain is possible. As a matter of fact, there are scientific proven methods for retraining your brain that are backed by neuroscience and psychology. So let me quickly share 10 of the practices in no particular order, by the way, which help reshape thought patterns, improve your mental well-being, and support emotional and spiritual wholeness. I already spoke about neuroplasticity. The fact your brain has the ability to change its structure and function throughout your life is amazing. Every time you learn something new or repeat a behavior, remember, you're rewiring your brain. The second one is cognitive behavioral techniques, also known as CBT. This is a well-researched psychological method that helps you identify and challenge distorted thinking patterns. This involves catching negative thoughts, questioning their truth, and then replacing them with a more realistic idea. For example, you catch this negative thought, I always mess things up. Then you ask yourself, is this always true? And then you can replace it with something like, sometimes I make mistakes, but I'm learning and growing. Now that's much more positive. CBT can rewrite those thought patterns, rewiring your brain, especially in people that are dealing with anxiety or depression or chronic stress. It's a great technique. Try it out sometime when you're berating yourself about something that maybe you didn't do perfectly. And a spiritual practice that I use that's similar to this technique is called the pause and replace practice. Here's how it goes. Throughout the day, if you notice any limiting belief or thought, pause, breathe, and replace it with an affirmation. So here's a couple examples. I'm not good enough. You might replace it with, how is it I so lovingly know I am guided by spirit and worthy of love? Another example, I'm not smart enough to do that. You might replace it with, how is it I so effortlessly remember with spirit, anything is possible. You get the idea. Another technique is what we talked about a couple weeks ago, mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment non-judgmentally. One exercise from that message was a mindfulness meditation where you sit quietly and focus on your breath. And if your mind wanders, you just bring your attention back to the now. Did you know there is scientific proof that regular meditation increases the gray matter in areas that are linked to emotional regulation, self-awareness, and empathy? And it also reduces the amygdala's activity, which is your fear center. Wow, that's great news, isn't it? As Thich Nhat Hanh says, feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. I love the visual of conscious breathing being an anchor. Try it the next time you have a monkey mind that's taking you on an adventure you don't really want to go on. Another method that rewires your brain is a gratitude journal. You know, I always encourage gratitude journals. Each night, write down at least 3 things that went well or things that you're thankful for that day. If it's been a difficult day, be grateful for the trees that provide you with oxygen, or your indoor bathroom, or the running water you have, which is not available everywhere in the world. You get the idea. There truly is scientific proof that keeping a gratitude journal boosts moods, reduces depression, and rewires the brain toward optimism. I use mine when I'm having a bad day to remind myself of all the good things in my life. And another helpful way to rewire your brain is to mentally imagine success, healing, or peaceful outcomes. This visualization and mental rehearsal is something that is akin to what you think about, you bring about. Let's try it. Just for a moment, visualize yourself embodying wholeness and health. See your ideal self, vibrant and alive. And use all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What are you touching? What are you smelling? How do you feel as you visualize wholeness and health? Again, there's scientific proof that visualization and mental rehearsal activate the same neural circuits as the actual experience. It's why so many Olympic champions and professional athletes actually use this technique to enhance their performance. You can use it too. Now, you didn't think I would forget this next one, which is positive affirmations. We use affirmations, which is an affirmation in the form of a question, because our brains truly want to be smart and find the answers to questions. And the questioning technique bypasses those typical objections that our brains might have to some kind of definitive statement. And believe it or not, there is scientific proof that positive affirmations and affirmations activate brain regions involved in self-related processing, and they can reduce the effects of stress. So let's try creating an empowering affirmation right now to replace a negative belief. Just identify any of your limiting beliefs. It might be, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and now replace it with a truth-based affirmation. How is it I so easily and effortlessly know I am enough? I am divinely worthy. Now, there is a spiritual practice that I use that's akin to this one as well. It's called the daily rewrite. Each morning, write 3 old beliefs and then rewrite them in divine truth. Here's an example. Perhaps your old belief is, I'm always anxious. Your new belief could look something like this. I'm grounded in peace and protected by love. And you can even turn it into an affirmation and use it throughout your day to help retrain your brain. There's another technique that we talked about a few weeks ago called habit stacking. In case you forgot or, heaven forbid, missed that message, habit stacking is pairing a new positive habit with an existing one. For example, I imagine we all brush our teeth daily. Habit stacking would be brushing your teeth and then saying a loving affirmation in the mirror. Behavioral science research by B.J. Fogg at Stanford shows that habit stacking using existing neural pathways to make new behaviors makes those new behaviors stick faster. Hey, and I'm all for getting those new habits to be easier to remember to do. And perhaps you can use this spiritual practice that's inspired by Louise Hay to habit stack with one of your morning habits. The practice is this. It's called mirror work. Look in the mirror and say, I love you. I accept you. I trust the unfolding of your wholeness. I love you. I accept you. I trust the unfolding of your wholeness. I love you. I accept you. I trust the unfolding of your wholeness. There's also scientific proof for this next one, which is time in nature. Scientists have found that spending mindful time outdoors in nature reduces stress, improves cognitive function, and restores attention. So if you're forgetting things these days, step out and take a walk in nature. Wow, did you know that a walk in the park or garden while focusing on the sights and sounds and smells can actually rewire your brain that way? The next time you feel a bit out of sorts, go outside, be in nature, rewire your brain to improve your thought patterns, and then notice if you feel better once you get back from that walk or that time outdoors. Another way that we retrain our brain is creativity and play. Engaging in creative activities like painting, writing, dancing, or even adult coloring. I think that's why the adult coloring book has gotten so much attention. And yes, again, there is scientific proof that spending 20 to 30 minutes doing something creative with no pressure for a result really does stimulate the brain's reward system, and it boosts your moods and enhances your flexible thinking. Now, I want to point out those key words: with no pressure for a result. I know I want to have more flexible thinking, so hey, more creativity and play for me. And the 10th practice is one of my favorites. It's called spiritual contemplation. And that's just to say we reflect on spiritual truths, scripture, divine ideas that uplift you. You might read a passage from A Course in Miracles or from our Wholehearted Living journal or another spiritual book. And then ask yourself, how does this apply to my current mindset? And yes, scientists support that regular spiritual reflection lowers stress. It also enhances purpose-driven thinking, which is correlated with better brain health. And just in case those 10 were a bit much for you to gather up, there is a quick summary out on our CSL Southeast Louisiana website. So I know we just looked at 10 scientifically proven ways to retrain your brain and let go of those old stories or traumas or beliefs. I want to add an 11th one, and it's a spiritual practice called the Thought Garden. And we are going to practice it in just a minute, but I want you to know I have no scientific evidence that this helps. I do have anecdotal evidence from clients that have used it. Here's how it works. Again, it's called the Thought Garden. Imagine your mind as a garden, and then ask yourself these questions. What thoughts are weeds that need pulling? What thoughts are seeds of joy and love and healing? And then to complete the exercise, take one of those limiting beliefs and write it on a slip of paper. That would be one of those weeds that you identified that needed pulling. And then take out another slip of paper and write a new belief on it. This would be a seed of joy, love, or healing that's related to releasing that old belief. Now, to finish the exercise, you tear up the old belief and fold the new belief and carry it with you as a sacred seed that you're planting in the garden of your mind. Whenever you see that paper, remember the joy, the love, or the healing that it's bringing. At some point in our lives, we've all allowed a few words to gather in that thought garden of our minds. And we need not be a victim of that past programming. A Course in Miracles reminds us, I am not a victim of the world I see. Isn't it about time we retrain our brains and pull those weeds so as not to be a victim of the weed thinking or of any past programming? I want to repeat those words of Katherine Economou, which I think are so pertinent. When your belief aligns with your divine nature, your reality begins to shift in miraculous ways. So start remembering you are a sacred temple of the divine. Start remembering God's Spirit dwells in you. And start aligning your belief system with your divine nature rather than allowing it to go down that path of self-loathing. Because what I know is when we align our thinking with divine truth, we begin to live from wholeness and health, not just chase it. We live it. I want that, don't you? So in summary, how might you learn to retrain your brain? Remember the power of your thoughts. Accept that you see what you believe, so believe the best. And align your thinking with your divine nature. Use those techniques that I mentioned for retraining your brain. Remember, you can reshape your thoughts and rewire your brain. Print out the 11 techniques from our website and use them. And let go of anything other than divine truth. Change your thinking to change your life. Make your thought garden a sacred one without weeds. And know that you're not a victim of the world you see. You do have a big choice in what your life looks like. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so willingly, energetically, and effortlessly remember the power of my thoughts? Know I can retrain my brain and release from the garden of my mind anything other than divine truth. So make a conscious choice this week to retrain your brain. Commit to using the scientifically proven methods that can help you have a healthier brain and a more peaceful and loving life. And adopt a couple practices that help you rewire your brain and use them regularly. So let's pray. I want to close with a blessing that's inspired to help you remember to retrain your brain so that you can have more wholeness and health in your life. Divine presence. May each of us remember to walk in the holiness of your divine nature, to breathe in the peace of your spirit, and to rise each day aligning our thinking with divine truth. Because what I know to be the truth is that each of us heard something today that is helping us to live in our wholeness and our health and know the truth of who we are. I see each of us being the embodiment of divine love, living in peace and calm, and allowing Spirit to guide our steps with wisdom, to fill our days with gentleness and love, and allow us to be rooted in peace and lifted by that love. So I know that each of us is choosing to live in a divine alignment of the truth of our being. And I'm grateful for us making that choice to spend time remembering the truth of who we are. I'm grateful to everyone that has spent time with us today and knowing that we are going forth with joy and courage and an open heart, knowing that our body is a vehicle for awakening, and so we're treating it with kindness and love. And so it's with gratitude, joy, bliss, and blessings that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing that they're already done, so I can say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And I'm so grateful to everyone that continues to support us. Thank you so much for your donations. Enjoy our offertory song.